Welcome back, everybody, to On the Edge of Shadow. My name is Blackthorn, your narrator here for this channel. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. So, we last left our beleaguered and besieged raiding party as they quickly fled the massacre at the Unseelie court of the Pike Lord, uh, deep in the middle of the Nightfall swamp. They were able, with permission of the young Pike Lord known as Phenelon, the next in line for the master of the house's seat. The young Pike Lord guided them to the secret waterways used by his people deep into the swamp. That eventually he guided them to the edge of the swamp. Unfortunately, uh, he was unfortunately, he was not back the way they had originally come, since they had come in the direction from the Mistywood village. However, Phenelon did guide them to safety, and we find our trio plus the young boy on the edge of a river, on the edge of the swamp. You are still under the thick, mossy canopy, clung together by vines. You see the sunlight um, through the western portion of the woodlands. Or, excuse me, not the western portion, the eastern portion. And you haul yourselves and your gear onto the muddy embankment as the young Pike Lord follows you up under the bank. Skarnir, would you describe your character for us? And then we will go to the Red Blade afterwards.
All right. Skarnir stands about 6 feet tall. He has a thick mass of brown hair flowing back in a mane, shaggy whiskers coming across his chin that he'll tentatively stroke from time to time as he considers what story to tell next. He's dressed up in rough-hewn furs and leathers, most of it leaving his arms and chest exposed, and a nice big pelt draped over his shoulders like a cape that he can flare out to make him seem bigger for wild animals. And tethered next to that is a nice magical glowy battle axe that he has become quite attached to.
Thank you, sir. Take it away, Red Blade.
Shahane looks more drawn and wan than he has at any time in his past, even after losing his horns in disgrace. His face is caked with mud. His clothes, never really in good repair, are have large rents in them, bits of mud and debris and such attached to it. His hair, normally kept in fairly good shape, is matted, and in places you can see knots. And his face, the eyes are harder than they have ever been. They were hard when he first came out into the mortal world from being banished, but now they have hard fire in them, as if they're looking for something. And he very often reaches up to his neck, where there's a small little carved medallion of what looks like a stylized female form, and he grips it and mutters under his breath, almost a curse. And he has been, over the past few days, uncharacteristically quiet, not even looking around for the large things that might eat him in the swamp, as if he doesn't really care anymore.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Once you've harvested yourself from the riverbank as well as the boat, that darkness weighing in on you from the massacre back at the court starts to seep in, almost a kind of a cold, icy claw. It's almost nails on a chalkboard-like feeling on the edge of your consciousness. This more so affects Skarnir and Shihane more profoundly as they traveled with the babushka of the Mistywood village. But as Skarnir has kept it to himself for much of their travelings, the feeling of loss is greater to him than the rest of his companions, as the babushka was none other than his great aunt, his mother's eldest sister, the babushka of his village. He made quick work of extracting his companions when she had ordered them to flee, but it was a hard order to obey, knowing that what she may or may not be forced to do. In these quiet moments on the bank, the young boy gazes up into Skarnir's eyes, and the young boy just sets his bullfrog down, and the frog hops into the tall water grass nearby, and he places his hand on Skarnir's hip, and he says, "I am sorry for your loss. I would like to call you friend, but I do not know how my kind and your kind could become friends."
That's very simple, little River King. You say, let's be friends. And you're friends. It's like that.
The young boy smiles. Is it truly that simple between mortals?
Oh, yes, we don't have much time to fret about over overly extended friendship parties, whatever it is you Fae do.
Then I think that we should be friends then. He smiles and kind of pats you on the hip where he initially touched you. He looks over at Shihane, now still lost in thought and muttering to himself, and his amulet to Vostru. You catch the young lord's eyes, those almost gray, kind of a river gray tone in the young boy's eyes. As a Fae yourself, you understand the intensity behind such a look. And you hear the Fae's voice in your mind. She was not the kindest to you, but she did respect you.
She had honor. She had more honor than a mere sacrifice.
The little boy's tears well up in his eyes, and he says, "I'm sorry." Out loud more this time, instead of telepathically.
A ghost of a smile plays across Sheehan's face, but it's quickly subsumed by the darkness growing in him. He looks over at the Lord and he says, "Hear my vow, Lord of the Fae. Those responsible for this will fall by my blade, by my arrow, by my bare hands if need be, but they will fall. This I swear."
My eldest sister told me that the Reaper King had come with his hordes of the demons because he had been angered for something. Jurek, he looks over at the taller Nemercian, clad in thick elk furs and wielding a bronze greatsword across his back. Jurek kind of shoots a look down at the boy, but he says nothing. The young king says, Jurek had come to seek advice from my father when such a thing had happened, because he's his village was attacked and burned by the cult that angered the demon in the first place. I accept such a vow, but I would request you do something as well for me. All three of you. Find this cult, end them, and when they are ended, bring me trophies of their leaders, and I will reward you. So long as you are within the influence of my court, and as long as I live as the Pike Lord, you will have my blessing here.
Here I was thinking I wasn't going to get a hunting quest.
Sheehan's face takes on a bit of a glow, a spark as if he remembers some old times. He says, I can do this. I can bring you trophies. I can bring you glorious trophies. He grins ear to ear, his mouth seeming to go slightly wider than most mortals could possibly go, and takes on a very feral look. Yes, trophies.
The young lord looks a little bit taller as he gives his first decree, being no taller than the average 6 or 7 cycle old human boy. But that first decree, nonetheless, makes the boy more formidable. He relaxes just slightly and shoots a look at the muddy path and then follows it to the sunlight at the edge of the forest. I can't leave this swamp. Oh, I wish I could come with you. But I'm too small for such a journey. He walks over to stand between Jurek and Sheehan, and he just kind of crinkles his nose. He goes, but if I was bigger... Such a hunt will have to wait.
We shall hunt for you, hunt your name. Patience, young lord. You will one day grow full within your power, and then, yes, then you may reach out and pluck those mortals out of the world who have offended you as lords before you have done. For now, let us be your hands.
He slowly nods. My hands. And he smiles. And my friends, thank you. Do this thing for me, and I will protect your offspring and their offspring. But I won't keep you any longer. He walks over to the edge of kind of the riverbank. It's kind of a big muddy sandbar is what you're standing on. And he goes, I have to find my aunt. She's somewhere in this swamp. There's another court south of here in the woodland realms of the fair folk. I should be able to find my aunt there as well. Just like, I thank you. Come back to the Red Stone. I'll meet you there when the task is done.
We shall see you there as swiftly as possible.
And at that, the boy jumps into the water, just full clothes and all. And he, as he dives, he shape shifts into a muskie, big predatory freshwater fish, and sploosh into the water. And he disappears. How on earth does a big fish like that disappear and is beyond your minds? But again, as the ripples die, the wind starts to breeze again, and the life of the swamp, the sounds of the forest begin to slowly come back to you as you're lifted from this eerie calm. What do the three of you wish to do?
Oh, Sheehan, what do you think?
Shane looks over his shoulder back out towards the sunlight beyond the swamp, and that dark smile still on his face and light reflecting in his eyes. He looks over out of his eye over at Skarnir and says, "Let's be about it. Let's get out of this swamp into the open air and find ourselves some cultists."
That sounds like a good long-term goal, but I meant right now.
Oh, ready to go out there and find some food? Set a fire so we can cook it?
Cause
Jurek says, I haven't eaten in a day or so, but a nice big buck should be able to sate us for a while.
Yes, definitely a nice big buck. Sheehan reaches into his belt, feels around, and pulls out it's a smaller knife. It's bronze, not not the ebon of the sacrificial knife, but it was one of hers. He says, "I have just a thing to skin it." No, on second thought, I'll save that for skinning other things. He slips it back into his belt.
couldn't it do both?
But skinning a buck would sully it before its purpose is fulfilled. I have another. He pulls out another knife that's a little more crude, but should serve the purpose.
You have weird attachments to inanimate objects.
He reaches up to his neck to the little carved idol and says, "No, I don't," and walks out into the sunlight.
It's about a 10 to 15-minute walk, but once you do step out into the sunlight, that oppressive swamp feeling just it's almost like walking through kind of a heavy plastic curtain of a walk-in cooler, if you will. Just kind of this, you walk from one area into another and you're just oh yeah.
Can't even imagine what that's like.
Oh no, says the 5-star chef. You are now on the eastern side of the Nightfall Swamp. Before you lies a great valley, and about 30 miles that way is the Divide Mountains. A great mountain range that splits the continent of Arum into east and west. And beyond there, the rest of the 9 kingdoms falls in line. Below you, in the valley, you see a small herd of mammoths. About 9 of them in total, and after a few minutes of gazing upon these, you see 2 bull elephants off to the side, and they're trumpeting at each other angrily and obnoxiously, and even still here, as they charge each other, there's this enormous boom, and the earth rumbles as these 2 bulls are fighting over possibly a fertile female in their herd. Yeah, you watch the spectacle for a few more minutes. What do you do here?
Well, it's a bit bigger than a buck, but what do you think?
Let's see which one loses. It'll be weakened. The other one will be occupied, obviously, and maybe we can take it.
Perhaps.
Sheehan reaches up and strokes, and for the first time realizes all the grime and such in his woolly rhino hide shirt that he has. He says, "I need more clothes too."
Why? Just wear less, like me.
I could, but he holds out his arms and looks at the fairness of his skin. The sun tends to cause me harm if I'm not covered properly.
Well, yeah, it does that at first, but then you get adapted to it.
We don't adapt like that.
I thought you Fey folk were supposed to be strong.
Oh, we are.
And yet the sun is beating you.
Well, the sun is the sun. One defends oneself against the rigors of the world in different ways. You, for instance, if you go out in the winter when it's snowing, you have to bundle up. Yes.
I'll usually put on another shirt, yes.
Us, not so much.
The struggle between the two titans down in the valley goes on for quite a few minutes as the earth shakes. They throw dust around, and soon enough, the two titans are enveloped in a cloud of dirt, dust, and thrown around tufts of grass as one eventually is the victor, and he forces the younger bull out of their herd to either find his mating privileges elsewhere or to join another herd. This bull, the wanderer now. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna ask for a wild lore test from either of you.
19 here.
Oh, beautiful.
And 17 for me.
Okay. Both of you have enough sense that even if the younger bull is beaten and driven out of his herd, it's probably not best that the three of you pick a fight with him, even now. You guys would not have a word for it, but the time of the year or the cycle that elephants go into a time of must, this sexual rampaging. It would be more dangerous for the three of you than anything else at this point. Best give the big man his walk.
That's true. Sheehan holds his tongue for a moment while that grumbles, but looks over and says, "Yeah, it's much larger than a woolly rhino. Much larger."
Yes. As then we should also consider the fact that we're going to be walking for a little bit, and do we really want to be carrying that much?
True.
For Skarnir, he would need about maybe about 24 fair folk to bring such a beast down, but maybe 4 more of himself by his counting.
Shehane pulls out a bit of twine from his pouches and looks up and says, "Conies?"
Nice and simple. We still have provisions, so we're not in dire straits.
That is true. That is true. I'll still set some snares. Maybe we'll catch something. So I'll do a wild lore to see if I can find some tracks or trails of rabbits or the like in the area to set up a nice snare for.
Of course.
It's going to be good, actually. That is going to be a 25.
Oh, fantastic. You guys will travel north, we'll say, for a good couple hours until you're able to track down and kill a reindeer. Just about a few hours before sunset, you're able to gut, skin, and service the animal for that evening's meal. You find yourselves, however, on the southern portion of a kind of a river basin. Just across this river basin from you is a crag, almost like a rocky escarpment, we'll say. And atop the thing, Skarnir has heard of such a location, as well as Jurek has probably throughout their childhood, an old fort. When I say fort, primitively speaking, it's a mass of boulders pushed together almost in a circle of stones kind of fashion, using megaliths, and in a defensive sort of structure. It's a what this era would consider a small keep. This keep's known as the Autumn's Grasp, rumored to be a haunted place. You see, just as the light of Vetru set in the east, the light peeking over the mountains kind of illuminates a shadowy silhouette of the keep. You're at a safe distance, but that looming specter of this haunted keep, just about a day's walk away, is enough to be unsettling.
Don't know if I like camping underneath the shadow of that place.
What if we camped up in it?
I hear there are things there that you mortals especially fear. Things of death.
Garnier fears nothing.
Well,
Jurek simply remarks, my babushka told me as a boy that that used to be a place where the tall, red-headed mortals far, far to the east used to live in such a keep. There was a village that they used to defend themselves against the beat-skinned mortals with the golden crowns. These primordial beings that she called them, the ones that live up in the ice. I've never seen such a thing. This is what we would consider an outpost to these ancient mortals, but I do not know much. It is an excellent position to be defended, I see. Just look at the place, Garnier.
Yes.
It does have a good vantage point.
And I know how much you like your vantage points.
Yes. The higher, the better.
Oh, that should be right up your alley.
It is. I was just afraid that you mortals might be fearful of such a place. I've heard tales. And Shihane cinches his pack up a little more on his shoulder and starts walking that way. Well, let's get it over with and get a fire going so that we might roast up some of this meat. Maybe get it clean. As he picks a beetle of some kind off of his shoulder and flicked it into the grass. They must have been riding with me all these in the swamp.
Jurek takes a branch from nearby and makes a makeshift torch out of such a thing. Brings the fire with you, so it's easier to transport, or easier to light a fire once you get there.
Good idea.
Can I get a traveling check from Skarnir? Quick like.
$18.
All right, fantastic. You're able to ford the river and hopefully and thankfully not put out your torch on the way there. Ford the river, scale the wall, and find your way up that overgrown path to the keep itself. Now, what I will describe for you, the courtyard of this megalith forged keep is a rundown kind of cobbling of lean-tos and shacks up against the heavy stone walls there. there is a 2-layered tower just nearby off to the left-hand side, and across one of the splits in the crags is another tower supported by another megalith being pushed up against the cliff there. There used to be a stone and wooden causeway that connected the fort proper to this outer wall tower, but that has crumbled away. If you walk up to the cliff there, you'll see that the drop is now about 60 feet below you. For you guys now, obviously that would be a lethal fall, but if you ever find a way into that tower, Sheehan would have an excellent vantage point to fire from. You could probably lay down some heavy fire for a good few hundred yards. What you do find, however, is warm and it is dry.
Sheehan will go over toward the tower there and just do a quick look around to see if what the handholds and such about if it is possible to climb. Not actually climb it yet, but just take a look at it and start gathering together wood to put somewhere nearby that for a fire, so that the heat will be reflected from the wall later tonight when it gets cool. And he starts dripping out of his filthy clothing, now dripping wet from the crossing of the river down below.
As you mean to settle in for the evening, you find that this fort and the village nearby, or say pushed up against the walls, could possibly have housed about 60 some people here. Or roughly the same size as Skarnir's old village. And now as you guys light a campfire, the curtains will close on that scene. We'll go to our soon-to-be other companions. The two of you have been trudging along a muddy dirt road for days now. The weather has been horrible. The mosquitoes and blood flies have been even worse. The storms have ripped the harvesting fields apart and tore down trees. It's been thunderstorm after sheets of rain for the past 2 chains, and you two have been making your way south. Grant, would you describe your character for us, please?
Yes. Blogveer stands 10.5 feet tall. He weighs a metric ton. He is an ogre. His skin is slate gray. His beard is about down to his stomach, drenched, wet. His hair is long, about the mid of his back. It is matted and dreadlocked, adorned with various bones and small trinkets. He wields a massive chunk of stone that he has slung casually over his shoulder. He has a pair of moccasins on. He is clad in fur of various types. He has a bronze breastplate that is well used and a bit dingy. On his left shoulder is the skull of a saber-toothed cat with a broken tusk, fang. He appears young, but with the look of someone who's seen far beyond his age would let. He's seen some things. He seems really world traveled, and the look on his face now is that of stoicism. He doesn't seem to show any emotion one way or the other as he trots along.
Thanks, brother. It's not the age, it's the mileage. Alan, would you describe your character for us, please?
Gilfek stands just 4'5". Small. The shadow of his companion engulfs him as he truds behind him in the muddy roads, picking up his feet, plopping along. He has a long beard that goes down just to his kneecaps. He has long, wild, unkept hair. He has no braids, no adornments, nothing of the sort. He's long since stopped caring about those such appearances. He clutches tightly in his right hand half a spear with a bronze tip on it. He's adorned in furs, covers his body with a leather jerkin along with leather boots and gauntlets. He has bones that dangle from his arms and from his jerkin of various kills that he's had as trophies that he's taken along his journeys. He has a look of grim determination on his face, not quite the same stoicism as his companion, but more like something is eating away at his mind, but he is determined to press on regardless. He slogs along and catches up to the side of his companion once more and glances up at him before moving on without saying anything else.
You both are down to your last 2 days of provisions, and the road has provided little in the name of game for you to consume. But off to the south and to the east of your position, Blogfear does, with his vantage point, notice a faint firelight amidst an old and ancient ruin that he's traveled by a handful of times. This is Autumn's Grasp, this known as a haunted fort built by ancient mortals that were tall and with thick red hair before they had retreated far to the east across those 9 lands beyond. What do you do when this light reaches your eyes?
I look down at my companion and I say, it would appear that the ghosts are out camping tonight. And I point off into the direction of the campfire.
I glance at the campfire.
I pick up my companion so you can get a better view.
Get your hands off me. I can see fine enough down here.
I ignore him as I pick him up so he can see.
He grunts but doesn't put up significant resistance. As you lift me up and I look over, still a little upset, but I scan the area around. Can I see anything extra being lifted up above this giant's head?
Not much, as there is a heavy overcast. A storm is rolling in from the east.
All right, I look around. It's like, I can't see much, but the last time I checked, I don't believe that ghosts start campfires.
Well, at least it is fortified, and we can at least have some shelter there. We
And
should keep
company
going.
too.
A few hours on the road, and you'll be able to find some dry beds there, you think?
Well, I think we should continue then. And as for company, well, I just look at my massive stone club and like, yeah, well, my club's been thirsty for a while.
Are you going to put me down now?
Oh, I just set him back on the ground.
Kind of like, adjust myself and adjust my furs and bones. On second thought, let's pay this company a visit. They might have seen the people we're looking for.
They might be the people we're looking for.
Even better. As I trudge along almost eagerly as he says this, spurring me forward.
I just follow my slight companion.
In trading, in traveling. Sorry.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Who has?
Oh no, I don't have grades in it, but I have bonuses to it from my background in Forte.
I have grades, bonuses, fortes, the whole works.
All right, I need a traveling test from Blogfear. I want to see if you guys make damn good time to this fort.
Let's see.
I will give you a +2 bonus, as you guys are kind of on the edge of desperation, but it's not life or death, but you have some place to be.
I have a 19.
Fantastic. You're able to make a 3-hour journey in about 45 minutes. Kind of a forced march for you. So you guys will take both 1 grade of exhaustion, but you guys make it there. How do you two enter the area of the fort? Are you being quiet? Are you
Blogveer has no concept of the word quiet. So I will look down at my companion like, how do you want to go about this? Should I just barge in, draw their attention?
Wait. Look. Wait, give me a moment. I'll circle around the other side in case they try to run, then barge in and try to scare them out the back. If it is them. But don't just go around killing some random traveler.
Okay.
But we're prepared for the worst. As I try to circle around to the other side, just to check if there's any exit over there.
there is only one point of ingress, as the walls are actually built right up to the edge of the cliff.
Right.
What passes as a gatehouse has collapsed ages ago, and so you guys, I'll say you guys are kind of hiding in kind of a copse of trees about, I'm going to say about 100 yards away from the gatehouse, just down the hill from there. You can see, actually, you know what? Make awareness tests for me. If you don't have grades in that, you can use that untrained.
Is there a negative for untrained? I forgot.
There is not.
All right. Well, I do have 1 grade in it, so I got a So double 8s are the only criticals, right?
That's correct.
All right. Yeah, I just got 1. I just couldn't remember that, but I got a 15 total.
All right, you can see 3 shadows up there dance across the stone walls there.
I got an 8.
And 8. Oh, okay. So you see 2.
I'm like, there's 3 of them. I see 3 shadows on the walls.
I only see 2.
I don't see a back entrance. There's only one way we're getting in. How high are these walls, by the way?
About it's not uniform. In its lowest point, crumbled away, it's about 30 feet. At its highest point, it's about 45.
This is a pretty big place. Whoever's here, there must be squatters. I know that 3 men, there's no way they could garrison this place.
Who said they're men? They could be women. Blogveer says, raising an eyebrow.
It's like, you know my meaning, you big oaf. I kind of just look again, just keeping an eye out. Like, as I berate him, I still just stare at this, making sure no new shadows appear. I'm like, 3 of them might be a decent fight for you. What do you say?
This place is haunted. Those who would stay here are men of iron will. It will be a fight. If they're enemy.
We have to assume the worst. We've had nothing but ill fortune.
Then let us not waste any time.
Can I get an awareness test from Shihane? Also, I need an awareness test from Blogfear and Gilfek.
14 here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got an 8 and a 7, 1 away from a crit.
I get an 8 and a 1. So do I re-roll the 8 or something? I can't remember.
You don't re-roll on an 8 and a 1, but Alan, your 8s do explode.
Okay, I got a 10 then.
I got a 16.
Okay, so you actually do. If you understand it, you hear the singing of Feywise.
I do not understand it.
Then you hear what sounds to be a beautiful Fey voice in an alien tongue.
All right, so the people we're looking for, do we know if they would be Fey or not Fey? Do we have that information?
It would be a mix. They could be Fey. They could not be.
All right, so just wouldn't really give us any hint to whether or not this would be who we're looking for, basically.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
You understand what it's saying?
I don't hear anything.
I hear something. It's coming from the ruins.
First you see 3 shadows, and now you hear ghost voices. Maybe it is haunted.
As he says that, kind of grip my spirit a little bit tighter. Ghost, and say with a little bit of fear in my voice, ghosts don't like campfires. Trudge along. I said, come on.
Okay.
As I approach cautiously with like a determination, because there's a chance these could be the people I'm looking for, but there's also Blogveer has put in my mind, maybe it is ghost. This is some strange enchanting voice I've never heard before, and I'm seeing shadows dancing around. So I approach with not a little amount of fear in my steps.
Do you guys have grades in stealth?
I have negatives in stealth.
Then you guys are not being quiet.
I mean, you can probably hear this thing coming.
So, Shihane, you definitely hear your Fey senses do definitely hear one very large traveler and maybe 1 or 2 smaller ones.
In that case, I'll stop singing and say very quietly to my companions, someone approaches, and I'm going to try to scale that wall. Give myself a little higher vantage point.
Okay. Go for athletics.
Athletics. It's a 12.
Okay. You can get yourself up to a crack, but you kind of run out of room to get the rest of the way up.
Can I wedge myself in there good to draw a bow or not?
You can. If you wedge yourself in there, you're not going to be able to draw your bow properly. But if you actually kind of perch yourself on it, kind of precariously, you can get a full draw.
Okay, that's what I'll do then. I'll perch precariously.
And Skarnir will pick up his axe and move into the doorway of the fort that Shihane vacated while scaling the wall.
And Jurek will draw his greatsword behind you, kind of backing you up. So, Gilfek and Blogveer, you will see 2 rather intense, very impressive looking mortals clad in furs and very impressive, intimidating weapons that meet you at the doorway. No threatening moves have been made, just curious looks. The 4 of you do.
Do they look Nemercian?
Yes, they are.
Then I say hello in Nemercian.
Good evening, big fella.
Jurek says, oh, an ogre. I see. You don't come to do us harm, do you, big man?
Well, that remains to be seen.
Kind of tightened his grip on his greatsword a bit.
Just look down at my companion.
I step forward out of his shadow. Just look them people over. What makes you make your own camp here for the night? Are you travelers, hunters?
Depends. Why would whether or not you would be hostile towards us depend on that?
He's got a point.
Well, you see, we're looking for someone.
Aha. And they would be what?
A group of mixed mortal and fey. But I don't recognize your faces.
And we don't recognize you.
From above, in the darkness, you hear, if you're hunting us, I hope you're prepared to fight like a mastodon. Or die.
Well, I mean, one of them's about as big as a mastodon.
and in bearded folk, and the other one must have the heart of one.
Look to my companion again. They haven't attacked us yet. They're not the ones we're looking for.
Okay. I just kind of just slump my hammer on my shoulder and just look all relaxed.
Well, it would seem that we're both just groups of travelers looking for rest.
Fancy that. Now, is there anything else we can help you with?
Would you have room for another pair in that fort of yours for the night?
I don't know. I think the big guy counts for about 2 or 3 pairs.
Above you, there is a rumble of the storm, and it starts to sprinkle at this time.
Oh no, not again.
Tell you what. What's your names? I'm not too far from leaving people out in the storm.
I am Blogveer.
Blogveer.
And Gilfek.
Gelfrick. My name's Skarnir. And behind me is Jarek. Skinny lad up there, his name is Shion.
Ooh.
So,
Hey.
yes. So, if you can agree to keep your weapons stowed, I don't see much issue with you joining us in here.
Blogveer will just take his giant stone maul and just set it down and lean up against the fortifications.
I just nod in agreement and lay my weapon next to Blogveer's.
All right. Garnier will unsling his, or loosen his axe, lean it up against a wall, and go back over towards the fire.
Blogveer approaches the Fae.
Shihan, as he comes off the wall, and a clatter of stones and lands to the ground, looks at the fellow before him and looks up and down. This Fae has a dark look about it. I like well, of course they all have a dark look about them usually, but his is a little more, I don't know, careworn than you're used to seeing. And he also has no horns. He does have 2 scars that are starting to show the signs of little prickles, possibly of new growth, but they are most definitely not there.
Would I need to roll something to know, like, why, like, one reason why he would have no horns?
Has Blogveer lived amongst fair folk for more than, we'll say, a handful of seasons?
Not just fair folk, it's a mixture of mortals and fair folk.
Make me a lore test. It is cunning based.
Okay.
Yeah, 2d8 plus your cunning modifier there.
That is a 15.
15?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah. That would be either he was a criminal or he was cast out for some other reason.
You a criminal?
Only in some eyes. In others, I'm a hero.
Blogveer cares not. It'll be nice to travel with the Fae for once.
By that description, you sound like a soldier.
No, just a hunter. I once led the nobles in their hunts along the edge of the forest, and I hunt again. Have you heard of any groups of people interfering with the proper exercise of any of the harvest festivals on your travels?
I raise my eyebrows and just
As
look
do
at Gilfic.
You seem to catch my attention as soon as you say that. I've heard of them.
Do you know where it might be?
No. That's the group we're hunting.
Ah. Sheehan actually grins a little bit at that. Good.
Small world.
With that, Sheehan takes a bit of a less of a defensive stance, and even though he was, well, he seemed relaxed. It was the relaxed one ready to fight. And he goes over and plops down a grimy rhino hide off to the side and goes back to preparing some food and starts humming that tune again.
Ah, the music of Fae. It has been too long since I have heard such tales. Even the humming, it soothes my soul. As Blogveer just sits his slumbering body down and begins to just smile and nod his head to the tune.
With that, Sheehan goes into a song about a fellow named Quill who defied death and stole his hunting hounds and met a horrible fate because of it.
Having no idea what he's saying, but quite enjoying the tune he's carrying, I rummaged through my pack, through my last few rations, and before long, Gilfeg finds himself humming along to the tune, even if he can't quite understand the words.
It's spreading.
After a few minutes, Jurek takes a poor, rickety old bronze knife, about halfway between an axe at this point and a cleaver. And he'll hack off a cooked hunk of the reindeer that you guys had gutted before earlier that day, and then drops a steak on a stone next to everybody. And he looks at Skarnir. He goes, well, if our number swells by 2, then we're going to need to feed that one. And he nods with a smirk to Blogveer.
Blogveer is drooling a little bit, looking at the steak.
Sheehan takes out one of his knives and cuts the big steak in half and tosses half towards the ogre. I don't need quite that much.
Don't be giving away all our provisions.
I'm not, just half of mine.
You didn't help us hunt it.
You will.
See here, Gilfig. They are good hunters, you not so much.
No one can hunt on those muddy roads where you can't even see a rabbit scurry across in a chain's journey.
That sounds like quitter talk.
Yes. One must have sharp eyes to see the small prints of the hair in mud like that, but it is possible to see. Sheehan cuts a piece off and eats it.
Jurek goes on to explain, in my village, when I was chieftain, my village had about a dozen ogres of his size in it. I am used to feeding such large guests and neighbors.
But you've never fed this one. He'll eat twice his size.
Oh, good.
Then I hope he fights just as well.
And he will.
Maybe with this one we could have taken that mammoth earlier today.
What do you think, Blog? Could you take a mammoth?
With or without my eyes open. But seriously, probably.
And people say I'm one to boast.
You are one to boast, Skarnir.
I've never boasted once in my life. I don't even know the meaning of the word.
You lie. like
For
a
you-
rug infested with fleas.
For you mortals, that word boast, I'm sure it means the moving of the lips, yes? And making of noise.
Yes, we boast about as well as you sing. Take that as a compliment.
Oh,
I will.
I miss Nemercians. They are funny people.
All right, thank you.
Jurek casts about, looking at the moving shadows against the stone walls and your immediate position in the courtyard. He gazes up at two of the towers and across the collapsed causeway. I think we should claim such a ruin. I've not seen such a ghost or a spirit or anything here.
It wouldn't take much to convince others that there is things here. And Shihan goes into a bit of a wail. That's a 17 on a singing check. Basically, it's sort of like a throat singing type elation that's a bit high pitched. And afterwards, he says that's a tune that the ladies of the fair folk will carry once a warrior is fallen. Tends to frighten most mortals.
Can you mimic the sound of a banshee? Or the
That was a banshee. There was a Bianchi.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, sorry.
He turns a bit pale at that. Because I've heard in my village the fair folk used to tell stories of the Banshee that and this old babushka, not fey, not mortal, but a babushka nonetheless, who washes clothes by a river, who has one eye and it
You mean
horrible.
Babushka? You mean Babushka?
No, she's not a babushka, but a babushka of some kind.
The Babushka.
Oh no, yes, the babushka.
Yes. Yes. As he says that, Shihan's eyes go a little misty and far away, and he leans back and starts humming under his breath. Those who have an ear for it realize that the humming he's humming is the same tune that he was ululating earlier that he ascribed to the Bianchi, and he reaches to his neck to a medallion there. He goes quiet after a bit.
You have lost someone?
One was taken foully, most foully. Revenge is needed.
I too walk the path of vengeance.
It would seem we've all had something taken from us by this group.
Shall take from them, take the very ears from their head, the eyes from their faces, their fingers, their toes, and then maybe their life.
I like the way you think.
Logbeer just smiles as he describes dismembering these people.
Yes, I have sworn a vow before Lord of the River himself, one of the members of the court, that yes, I will hunt these foul creatures down that are disrupting the harvest festivals around here, and I will bring him their trophies. He did not say that I had to slay them before bringing their trophies. I would love to drag their screaming bodies mutilated by the hair before him to answer their crimes, and then, only then, allow them the sleep of death. He looks pretty hard.
What about you, Nemercian man? As I point to Skarnir. Have you lost someone? Or you walk the path of vengeance?
Well, lost my babushka. Otherwise, not really. I'm just the village hunter. Got a job to do. I'm going to see it done.
By the great goddess of carnage, there's a lot of hunters around here.
It's how we survive.
Jurek stands up and takes a hard but stoic appearance and runs his fingers over the sigil of Vostru around his neck. It's similar to the one that Sheehan wears. He says, 3 months before today, my village was burned. The babushka slain, our 2 shamans, our 3 priestesses of the morning light. My daughter was abducted by these foul cultists with their goblin and troll men subjects. They raided and they pillaged. They killed my wife. I would bring their heads to the Pike Lord, or possibly to savor such a moment. He shoots a look to Sheehan. I agree. We bring them alive.
As he finishes speaking, I lean forward to him. It would seem your village has shared the fate of mine. They have taken my son.
Then we should band our number together, and we should find this cult and end them. And in such a way, somehow find a way to appease this demon so he can stop burning and devouring everything before him.
Let me do a quick lore check real quick.
Go for it, man.
Let's see. That's going to be a 21.
Beautiful.
At the mention of burning and appeasement, Sheehan takes on a look on his face. As I recall something once, in my early days, one of my early hunts, we encountered wouldn't really call it a village, more of a camp of these mortals who had been at war with some neighbors. And they had captured several of their warriors and were in the process of doing some type of ritual. Of a bushkill or a shaman would probably know what they were doing exactly, but they were taking these bound men and placing them in a framework that looked like a larger man, one in each leg, one in each arm, one in the torso with his head at the top as if maybe he were the leader. And as he watched and waited and the sun set, they set this thing on fire.
Jurek's eyes goes wide. I've heard such a thing, the great fiery man.
Maybe this is a way to appease that thing, but we would only know if of course, we need to ask someone who knows more of these things. I'm not a spiritual person myself.
My babushka would have known. I suppose your babushka would have known as well.
My babushka yet lives. For the village that I was living in when it was destroyed was not my home village where my babushka lives, but it would be quite the journey to go and find her. Do we know of any other village around that might have someone closer?
Would that be a traveling check there, Rafe?
That absolutely would be.
I'm going to do a quick check real quick. And with a 13, would I know?
You have a feeling that if you travel west, you might be able to find one of the river villages, but at that point, you do know you are cutting it close to where the troll men lair along the river, especially the Kingfisher village that attacked the Misty Wood some months ago. And what's worse, you're cutting it even closer to where the Atlanteans have their colonies along the Great Gray River.
Still, Sheehan leans back and thinks. He says, There's a village to the west. Well, it's some distance to the west. Some of you may know it. But to get there, we'll have to go through the territory of the Trollmen. Although, from what I hear and from what I know from the last village I was in that was attacked, these Trollmen seem to be in league with those who are disrupting the festivals. It might be worth our time to try to hunt one of them, gather them up, and ask them a few questions in the most creative ways we can think of.
Oh, sure. I already killed one of their chieftains. May as well kill more.
I slew 5 after having to slay a woolly rhino. But that's neither here nor there. We have more now. We have a new companions. We may not have to fear them as much on the open road as we would be attacking the village.
Wait, you've feared them before?
Well, not feared, but that's not the proper word. You know, my immersion is not the best.
Your trepidation.
Yes, as in we need not be concerned by their presence.
Sheehan was afraid of trolls.
Jarek simply comments in, trolls, yes. Trollmen, no, with our number growing. They are of no consequence, no concern whatsoever to us.
Yeah, they'll
We will
probably
brush them aside.
they'll probably flee at the sight of an ogre and a forest demon walking towards them. Of course, backed up by the rest of you folks.
And a man with a fiery axe.
You know, I think my bush actually has a cure for that.
Fiery axe.
Oh, I thought you said something else there.
No.
Also, Gilfek, you will notice that the axe that Skarnir wields is of the beardish make. Is a long-hafted axe made by your people, and you do notice along its blade the name's rune. The rune's name being an ever-burning candle. As you see, the top bit of the axe has a tiny flame akin to a candle's flame.
I kind of lean forward, look at it a little more. That axe is of beardish make.
Ah, I knew I liked it. I like most things with beards.
As you should. Don't ever cut your beard. It'll bring bad fortune upon you and your family.
Why would I ever cut my beard?
Exactly. But that axe, the runes on it, it's this ever-burning candle.
Ah. Well, I was close. I was just calling it candlelight.
I would have called it fire axe, because that's what it is. It's a fire axe.
Very on point. I like you.
On the subject of these troll men, to look towards Shihan again, if you believe that they are in league with those that we search for, then it would seem our decision is made for us and we make for their villages, their territory.
Good idea. But first, we should rest. You look weary from the road. I know we are. We've recently come from a swamp, and this is the first dry ground I've laid my head on in, well, quite a while. Several chains at least.
Shihan says swamp, and Blogveer just grips a pouch that he has over his neck. He gripped it tightly. Kind of looked a little bit frightened.
Just pat his leg. He's like, don't worry, big fella. You'll get through it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jurek puts in here. If we are meant to travel soon, who will guard this fortification that we've claimed in our absence?
Maybe the spirits.
We could set some traps for those who might come here and try to claim it for their own, or one of our number might stay behind and watch the place.
All I'm going to say is I don't see too many people coming to also claim this place. And if we set traps, we could accidentally injure innocent travelers looking for shelter the same way we were.
Well, we could set traps that don't harm but frighten.
Or we can just kick out anyone who's here when we come back.
I like that idea.
There's that as well, yes. They could make improvements. Or just come back and enslave them and have them work for us. Like a civilized person.
Jurek says, I am no taskmaster or slave taker, but my village had some of them. Most of them are these foul troll men or goblins from the mountains as slaves, but yes, I agree.
Maybe we should go and capture ourselves some trollmen, bring them back, put the fear of me into them, and have them guard the place.
You would trust trolls to guard something you actually cared about to a marginal degree.
Well, I mean, Shihan looks around and says, I mean, I wouldn't really care about it that much right now. It's just sort of a broken down ruin, but eventually it'll be nice. And trollmen are very strong and they can be trained. They can move things, very heavy things, and put them in places and stack them up, which is what we need now.
We can do the work ourselves. We don't need filthy trollmen stinking up our place.
Yes, that's also one of the issues. They kind of smell.
Does anyone speak Trollman anyways?
No.
No one in the party would be able to speak Trollish, no.
Then how can we interrogate or train them?
I hadn't thought that far. I only thought as far as the part of the torture. True, there would be no actual other point of torturing a trollman. The information would not be a useful thing from them because we would not understand it. But, I don't know. There's also an Atlantean outpost over that way.
Atlanteans. Fish fuckers. This Blogbeard just punches the ground as hard as he can. Rage and fury in his eyes. Spittle flies from his mouth. Fish fuckers. Atlanteans. I'll kill them all. I'll tear them limb from limb. Feed them to the fish who they fuck so. He throws his hands in the air.
Okay, so that makes 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals out for vengeance.
It seems that way, yes.
Why is it always blood and vengeance with you folks?
We lead interesting lives.
Well,
That's why we have songs to sing about us and tales to be told, and well, they're actually true.
right. But yes, I think the matter of how to take care of the fort can be a matter brought up at a later date. Unless one of us actually feels around like sticking around a empty fort on a hilltop all by his lonesome.
True, yes. That would be a lonely existence if we were to wander off into the wilderness and through some misfortune not make it back. Them staying here and waiting for us until their old age and grayness and their stooped shoulders and such, looking over the walls, waiting, just waiting. Yeah, that wouldn't be fun at all.
You have an odd sense of faith in people you've met a short while ago.
Well, that's only. Oh, sorry. I was thinking that was like no, it'd be like next year, isn't that? You folks are so short lived. Sometimes it's hard to think about exactly how short you live.
Yes, I would not stick around until my shoulders are stooped waiting for you. I would probably bail out after about a couple months.
Well, I guess I have only a couple of months, and you only aged a bit. So
yes, my hair has only grown more majestic.
And unkempt. But I shall turn in myself this night and get a bit of rest. So I suggest we all do the same and strike out in the early morning to see what I might find.
I will stand guard first.
Thank you.
Just, no offense intended, but, like, no offense for, your kind, but it's more, we just met you two, so how about one of us also stand guard with?
That's reasonable. Thanks for volunteering.
I was going to volunteer anyway.
I trust you fair enough. You haven't tried to kill me yet. You can stand guard. I will sleep.
Okay.
That's what you get for volunteering, my friend. As she unrolls over and
wraps the purpose of the volunteering.
Wraps his skin around and shuffles into the wall.
Well, picks up his axe. I'll be up front.
As the rest of your number beds down for the evening, Skarnir, you find a thick evergreen with branches high enough off the ground. You can lean up against the stone wall, accompanied by that tiny candlelight from your axe. Then you can stay out of the rain. The rest of you have found a dry enough place, sheltered enough to find yourself able to sleep comfortably in. There's the larger building. It's a stone hall with flagstones and moss and dirt, keeping the stones together. And it's a good, I suppose, octagon-shaped room, kind of a 60 feet across kind of thing, with a rundown spiral staircase up the far wall that spirals up to the next level. The top portion of this tower has been shorn away by age, the elements, possibly a long forgotten siege. But nonetheless, the roof is not leaking. You all can sleep comfortably and warm. 3 hours of the night pass, and it passes without event. When will Skarnir end his watch? Or will he eventually just turn in himself and let the others sleep?
He'll end his watch about maybe around 3 a.m.
Okay.
Go in and kick Jurek in the foot. Just wake up. Your turn.
All right. Jurek's watch ends uneventfully as the first. You'll come to Shihane. I'll gently shake him awake. Your eyes and ears might do better than mine.
Oh, they will. I get up and fold my my bedding up, grab my bow, start heading out, walk by Skarnir and make a little bit of extra noise and say, I wonder if there's any vampires out there as I head toward the gate.
Don't invite them in.
He waves over his shoulder and heads out to take position.
Do you go out front, or do you scale the stairs and get up to the first wall?
Oh, I'll get up the wall. I'll get the best view I possibly can. Try to conceal myself up there for any wandering eyes to not notice. So,
Right, throw me a second.
okay. Be 22.
Oh, perfect. You're overcast the light rain. You're basically invisible. And okay. Some hours before dawn, you're not dozing off, but your eyelids are indeed quite heavy here. As you cast about, you walk along the wall as your patrol. You find a wall that's partway crumbled away from the stone causeway. You gaze across the stone causeway to that distant tower, and you see a man-shaped apparition standing there on this balcony. The thing just stares at you. It's like a shadow person from a horrible paranormal show. It just kind of, oh God. You finally see it, and this icy cold claw grips your heart. You blink and the thing is gone.
And that Sheehan will start humming a tune under his breath to sort of try to dispel the feeling of dread of seeing that, and thinking to himself, am I going to have to wake up Skarnir again and tell him I've invited something else into the place? Sort of humming that lullaby from when I was a child, the song about the grove with the sword, and the great hero that left it there.
You feel a strange gravity pulling you towards that distant tower.
Okay. I, of course, don't want to go, but at the same time, that the curiosity, I mean, yes, it was I was fearful, but I've done tricks like that myself to scare people. I'm wondering if that's possibly something that's been going on this time is a trick of the light of a person at the tower. So I'm gonna creep over there and look.
So you make it to the edge of where that causeway once was, but you gaze down. There's that 60-foot drop beneath you, and a fall like that would break your neck, as well as everything else in your body. You still feel that gravity. It's almost beckoning in a sinister and seductive fashion. You have a feeling that possibly, if you got a running jump, you might be able to make the 30-foot gap.
I'll do a. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to look it up and down, step back a bit, and look to see if I have a running area. Look at these stones in the darkness.
If you have enough rope, you could probably scale it.
I could. I look back over my shoulder, back toward the camp with the lightly smoldering campfire banked, just to keep the heat there. Figures there. I look down toward the gate of the entrance is, just to see if there's anything else out there that might be like it basically is this a distraction. So I'm looking forward to see if there was if that was the case, and that awareness was going to be a 18. Anything
on
out
the
of
side of the gorge, it's quiet and dead. It's the sounds of the late night air and the sprinkling.
Okay, I'm gonna go back down to the camp and grab a bit of rope then, and look for a large rock I can tie it to.
Oh, there's plenty of that.
I'll get a good one that has a sort of a bit of a neck to it. I can tie this rope to and make sure it's secure, and go back up there, and I'm going to try to cast this rock across and get it hung up among the stones along the other side.
Make me a knots test, quick like.
Knots test.
I'm like 90% sure you have knots.
Knots. Actually, that's one of the few things I don't have.
Oh wow! All
Yeah.
right. You can make a square knot.
Okay. And I can make a square knot with that's going to be under, is that physique or cunning for that? I think it's cunning, isn't it?
Knots is physique.
Physique, okay. All right. And I have a whole 11 for that.
A big ol' 11. Oh Jesus! All right.
And I'll see if it's secure. Well, of course, I probably think it's secure, and I'll toss it across if I can get it hung up on something over there.
Might make me an athletics test to toss it off.
That one I can do. It's a 20 for that.
Ooh. You know, you're able to actually get it between a pair of rocks, and it's quite snug over there now.
Okay, I'm going to try to tie it off on my end. Once again, with the untrained knots. All right. That's going to be, it's a 12 for that knot.
It's a slightly more improved square knot.
Okay. Then I'll stop and think for a moment.
However, with the second knot, you're pretty confident now.
Okay. Think for a moment, and then I head back down to the where everyone's sleeping, and I stand over Skarnir, and I say, "Skarnir, psst, wake up, Skarnir."
What? Is it another vampire? Or was you
No.
joking?
No, not another vampire, but there is something else.
Ah,
You want to come see?
come see what?
Oh, there's that tower over on the causeway that we have the that chasm between us and it and such. There was a figure over there earlier.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I'm going to go look, and I thought I might let you know that I'm going to go look,
All right.
just in case,
Have fun.
All right, I'll do that. She bounces back up, heads back up the area, and then he is going to he is not going to do this stupid thing and try to tight walk this. He is going to actually sling under the rope and scurry across underneath.
Oh,
Sort of
fantastic.
hand over hand. So that's a 14 on athletics for that.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. It takes you some time, but you get across.
Okay. And then I'm going to unsling my spear because I left my bow across the way. This is spear work, not arrow work. And I'm going to head into toward this tower and see what's there.
There is an aged but not run down heavy timber door held together with now heavily oxidized bronze studs holding the door closed. You go to push the door open, and it creaks horribly. You take just a small step into the door, letting the moonlight kind of peek in behind you, and it seems to be it's like a bedroom. It has a second and possibly a third level. There's a door. Excuse me. There's a bed, a side table, a desk, a stool, a small bookcase that is or was packed full of scrolls and maybe a handful of actual leather-bound books in there. Not many cultures have the technology for book binding, but you do indeed see a trio of tomes here.
I'll creep over and take a quick look at these tomes, see if there's anything that jumps out at me. Literally, I'm on guard.
Sorry, say that one more time. You walk over to the bookcase?
I'm gonna walk over to the bookcase and see a little bit look at these books and see if anything jumps out at me, as in I'm on my guard.
Okay. Spear leading, you creep
Yes.
into the room. As you make it to the bookcase, you say you probably reach out and touch one of the books, and you hear a rumbling in the darkness. Just in a corner, a massive shadow behind the door. It just rumbles to you. More Gunashkesh. Which, to your Fey ears, actually burns. Like your left ear actually starts to bleed.
I'll very quickly at that point make my retreat.
As you go to whip around, the door slams shut, and you see standing before you a somewhat skeletal figure clad in something you can only describe as a scarecrow's garb. At the ends of its hands are wickedly sharp, bony claws that have the traces of dried blood at the fingertips. A carved wooden mask across its face with sunken eyelids, unpainted. Its eyelids kind of weep an off yellow pus-like it's like a pus-like tear, almost mixed with blood. Its mouth agape, and it repeats the phrase Muragadnashgish.
Okay.
And it points to you.
Okay. She kind of hold his hand out and say, "Please, please, no more. That pains me. What?" And of course, he say this in Fey-wise.
Make
What?
a lore test here.
Okay.
And I'm also going to need a magical defense test here, because technically he is attacking you.
16 for the lore test, and for the that's spell defense. You get +1. 16 for the spell defense test or magic defense.
Okay, you take 2 points of vitality damage as it repeats the phrase, and both of your eardrums have burst. You kind of have this tinnitus going through your ears as your earlobes are now dripping.
Okay.
You do, however, in the midst of this pain, it's speaking Unseelie to you.
Okay. Do I understand what it means, or would that be?
Because you speak Fey-wise and you actually do not speak the language of the High Fey courts, you can probably pick out like every third word. It is quite literally a different language. This is the language, as well as Seelie, that is spoken at the center of the world in Fematras.
Okay. And he'll say in Fey-wise, which is as close as he can get, is, "I apologize. I do not have the honor of speaking your language, and I do not know what you want of me."
It kind of cocks its head to the side, almost as if it's confused. Takes a very long, very unsettling look at you. It holds its hand out to you and then points down with its index finger.
Oh, I know what that means. I'll take a knee for it. As you wish, my lord.
It murmurs something in the Unseelie tongue, which again, it's like driving a hot tack through your ear. It walks over to you, and it purrs something at you. It's disgustingly syrupy sweet, almost. It's like a master or king speaking to a slave, or a favored slave at that.
Mm.
It runs its cold, bony, icy fingers through your hair. It moves your hair away from your scars. Then it growls something. And it backhands you, knocking you to the floor. As soon as it saw that you were marked disgracefully, it found something distasteful in you.
Of course. Okay. Shihan falls to the ground and pulls himself over to a corner defensively. And he says, he says out to this thing, I am on a mission for a lord of the court. The Pike King sends me to slay his enemies. Do you know of them?
I know of who you seek. It beautifully and seamlessly switches to the mortal tongue. What did they call you, you filthy thing?
They call me Shihan.
Mm.
And I am not alone.
This mission. I know that there are others with you. What do you know of the Reaper King?
I know that the Reaper King has been enraged by a group that is disrupting the harvest rites, attacking villages, causing them to fail in their pact. I know that pact has caused the felling of at least one great lord of the court, and that the Fae themselves seek vengeance upon those who would cause this.
You would be correct, mortal.
Shihan sort of shudders at that.
I am one of the Reaper King's court. As this realization dawns on you, you go, oh, by all the gods old and new, I am speaking to a Reaper.
Yes.
As that fear kind of trickles into you, you start to tremble.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a threatening step forward to you, and you feel you're almost stuffed back into a memory of you being a boy, as like one of your great uncles telling you a ghost story and that robbed you of sleep for a few chains. But it's worse than that. Worse than you've ever experienced in your long life thus far.
Yes. Oh, great lord of the court of the Reaper King. Our paths may align. I may do great works for you as well. My quest may benefit you as well as the Pike King's for his vengeance.
Speak.
We seek the cult. We seek this cult. We look for where they may have been residing. I was thinking I may come across here to this tower and find a hidden bastion of theirs, but instead I find you, oh great lord. He bows his head low. Would you have knowledge of where this cult may have taken these sacred stones that the mortals use? Or I'm not sure if your kind are tied to those or not. I was not been able to look at one directly as of yet.
Our kind is only tied to the rituals that govern the harvest. Our function is to guard the crops that feed mortals. Mortals offer up sacrifice, and we protect their harvest so they can feed. They grow, they prosper, and now their children, because their harvest rituals are being interrupted, their children now go hungry. And he leans down to put that wooden, horrible mask in front of you. And now my kind starve with them.
We may yet bring you sacrifice. We may yet be able to restore this order. It's what we seek, so that your kind may once again rest easy with the full bellies and so much he made of mortals. And that is all we wish. We do not wish to interfere or to bring offense.
I cannot tell you where this cult lairs, but I can tell you where their next target will be. Who are the most powerful lords in these plains?
Do a traveling check for that just to get an idea. Oh. 20, let's be 20, 26. A double explosion.
The sea people.
The fish lords.
The
Not
ones
the
who
pike
now
lords.
hold the most magics and the most powerful harvests. The cult will strike them next.
It's a tall task, but thank you very much for that knowledge. With that, I know where we must go. We must go to these Atlanteans. We must, well, protect the ones who would do their rituals. Make sure they occur properly, and make sure those who have been so disrespectful to you and your kind come to a proper end.
The Reaper King does not often accept live sacrifice, but for such an offense, he would certainly be appeased.
We have an idea for that.
If this thing could smile wickedly, you could certainly tell from behind its mask.
He shudders again.
I will haunt you for a time. As he partially turns away, and that door to this room opens up very eerily by itself, creaking the whole wide way open, letting the moonlight come in. And the moonlight illuminates what would be this Reaper's feet, which are kind of like bone and dried straw.
Again, she kind of shudders, keeps his back to the wall, moves toward the doorway. As he gets there, he bows respectfully as he leaves, and he says, "We shall do our utmost to take care of this problem, and he sort of heads out as quickly as he possibly can, and almost, he gets to the edge of the chasm, almost running off the edge, casts his spear across, and shimmies across as fast as he can.
As you get to the doorway, before you're able to, the Reaper kind of touches you. That icy grip. But I will haunt you for the rest of your days until you can answer my riddle.
Riddle?
A riddle.
What is this riddle?
A harvest sown and reaped in one single day. In an unplowed field, which increases without growing, remains whole through it is eaten, within and without, is useless, and yet the staple of your nations. The answer will come in your lifetime to these lands. Now take what I have said to your companions, and I will haunt this place.
Okay. Sheehan hears these words echoing through his mind as he makes that mad dash, that cast, and then that climb across that rope again. He even leaves the rope there without thinking, grabs his spear and runs down as he's going down to the fortified area. He wants to call out, but he's almost afraid to, because as soon as he does, he's thinking this thing is going to be right behind him or might be offended. So he goes quietly, gets down to where Skarnir is, and leans over to me. He says, "Skarnir, Skarnir."
What?
It was worse than a vampire, and I know where the cult is going to be next.
Okay, slow down. Did you invite this thing in too?
No, I went into its place. It invited me in.
Why?
I guess it wanted to talk.
Okay, so, and this thing worse than a vampire.
Yes.
Get to what it is after this, but it told you where the cult's going to be hitting next.
Yes.
Why?
Because it wants us to go there and stop it. Because it's in the court of the Reaper King itself. It's one of the Fae, one of the Dark Fae, one of the. What weird people think of me, but what we think of as this is scary.
Okay.
And it says riddles, and it's. I'll not be sleeping again tonight. That's for sure.
I need, just as the first blush of dawn, the light is streaming into the open doors and the windows here. First off, I need Sheehan to make an awareness test.
Awareness. That is going to be a 13.
That horrible, grimacing wooden mask, you notice, is hanging almost as a decorative mask from the center pillar of the main hall. And it's just leering down at you, at the five of you.
He screams and points. I
Which
mean,
arouses everyone in the room. Good morning, everyone.
pitched closer to what everyone thinks a banshee should sound like at this point. And points.
Man, it's just a really weird wooden mask.
I'm like, what? I like grab my spears. I wake up like, oh, what's going on?
This is its place, not ours.
Okay, so going back to the conversation about this place, we're
Yeah.
not coming back, is what you're saying.
No, we are, but not. Well, we're bringing some of them here to give as sacrifice to River King, and we're taking some to the Pike King to give to him as well. Actually, you'll probably bring them here, take the trophies, then take them to the Pike King, take the trophies to the Pike King, and do the whole thing and all that. But yes, he wants us to kill these people who are disrupting these rights, and he told me when the next one's going to be. And I look straight over at Blogveer, and I say, "I'm sorry."
What happened?
It's where we have to go to next.
He just rubs his eyes. All right. Wait, where are we going?
We have to go to where the Atlanteans are.
Atlanteans! Yes! He gets up and grabs his club. Come! Let's not wait!
Wait. I think there was a miscommunication somewhere. We're going to stop a cult from attacking the Atlanteans.
Yes.
This is effectively us helping Atlanteans.
Yes.
I can't kill Atlanteans.
Well, you can, but
Yeah, Atlanteans!
Objective.
well, the objective is for the Atlanteans to properly do their ritual. Now, once their ritual is done, whatever you do to them, it's up to you.
All I'm going to say is that if we go attacking Atlanteans, we may as well be helping the cult.
Yes. But we can attack the Atlanteans with patience.
I will. It will take some doing, but I will stave off the slaughter for a time being.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
But yes, this place is that. This place is of the court of the Reaper King. We need to be about our business and out soon.
Yes.
We do not want to be here when the sun sets again.
Understandable, and also handles the conversation about ownership of this place.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I'm not too partial to keeping a keep of a Reaper court.
Yeah, Shihan's gathering his stuff up real quick and looks up at the mask, shudders again, and then he heads toward the door quickly.
All right, at that, Ray will take a quick 10-minute break here. Smoke them while you got them, gents.
Okay.
Welcome back, Keith.
Hello.
So, what are we thinking of the session so far?
I'm enjoying it.
Oh, good.
I'm here.
Welcome back, man.
I am back as well.
All right. Welcome back, Steve. So, as you hurriedly... Oh, wait. Shit, hang on. Can't start the back up the session unless my camera's on. There we go. The narrator has clocked in. All right. As you hurriedly gather your things and see your place, see yourself from this place, or rather, Shehane, you still feel those cold, dark pits staring at you. And the Reaper's riddle ringing in your mind. Do you divulge this information or do you keep it to yourself?
For now, this close to that tower, which of course I'll cast a glance over my shoulder towards as we leave the area, I don't feel comfortable speaking those words yet. But possibly by the time we camp for the night, I'll feel far enough away from that thing to utter those words and not bring its attention further upon me.
So you pick a deer path that heads west. I'm not going to make you make a travel test for it, but you hit this trail hard. It is a forced march. You clear more than half of the way there to the Great Gray River in one day. But by the end of that one day, full 24 hours later, you're beat. Your feet are killing you, screaming at you to please, God, stop. I need one of you to light a fire.
What check is that?
That is wild lore.
I've got an axe that's on fire.
Oh. Oh, that's cheating. Come on now. Don't be a noob.
Well, even without that, that is 22.
Oh, for God's sake. All right. You'll start the fire with little to no issue at all. You're finally able to get off of your feet and just finally sit down on like a rock or a log or something. However, Blogveer has it worse off because he has all that mass to lug around.
Blogveer just collapses to the floor. Just lays on his back and like rubs his feet.
You are good 16 miles to the west now, we'll say. You feel of more than a little safe. But nevertheless, Shehane still feels those eyes upon him.
There's something I should tell you, Paul. Something that the creature in the tower told me. A riddle.
Okay.
Yeah. He said that he would haunt me until this riddle is solved.
My condolences.
By haunting me, he may actually also haunt the rest of you as well, for he was aware of you all as well. And though we did not know it by us spending the night in his hall, he may take a price from us.
Now, you see, This is what I don't like about you Fey types. It's all deals and bargains and payments, and like even when the other party's not aware of it, there should be laws about that.
There are many, many, many laws about that.
Like they shouldn't be able to charge us stuff if we're not aware of the bargain.
But if the benefit was received, payment must be given, yes?
Then he should have come down and kicked us out. That's his damn fault.
I agree.
As do I.
But the Fae are hospitable people.
That doesn't sound very hospitable.
It would be against their own laws to kick you out once you come in and sought shelter under their eaves.
Then make it known that there's going to be a price to pay. Put a sign on the door.
Well, I think back to that one face carved in the pillar and say, well, technically there was a sign. We just didn't see it.
No. That's more of the stuff I hate about you, Face. That's not a sign.
It is as it is, but this riddle, I will speak it now. I did not wish to speak it to that tower.
If you say that riddle, are we bound to it?
Well, no, he gave it to me, but you may already be bound to it anyway, so you might as well know about it, as you said.
Fine.
Blogveer plugs his ears and I don't want to hear nothing. No, I'm not akin to this. This is not my problem. La 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 la.
Words.
Well,
Bring them on. I'll defeat them just the same.
I will speak them then. A harvest sown and reaped in one single day, in an unplowed field which increases without growing, remains whole though it is eaten. Within and without is useless, yet it is a staple of our people.
Oh, I know this one. Is the answer apples?
I don't think so.
Oranges.
What's an orange?
It's a sour fruit. You don't eat the skin though. It's the cherries.
Cherries, I know. Well, it's cherries.
Corn.
I don't think it's corn either. I mean,
Have you tried just listing things?
Yeah. I don't think just listing things will get us the answer we need.
There is a finite amount of words in the languages, no matter which one you speak. Eventually, you'll come to the answer.
That is true, but of course,
That's how you got to think to beat Faye.
All of the things that you've mentioned aren't sown and reaped in the same day.
Then let's just start crossing them off of a list. We know it's not apples. We know it's not oranges. So, I don't know. Should we start listing birds? Or do we want to stick on vegetables?
But what if these Fae have rules against listing things?
Why would they have a rule against listing things?
Why would they charge you for something without telling you that you had to pay first?
Because they're finicky little pricks.
Well, I mean, had I known that that was a Fae stronghold, I would have told you that there would be a payment exacted for our staying there, but I did not know this. You mortals keep saying, "Oh, this is haunted," or "That is haunted," and it's like, is it a ghost thing or is it a Fae thing? No one knows.
I just lump them into being the same.
Well, they're quite different.
I don't believe that.
La 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 la.
You can stop singing to yourself there, fellow. You can. I've said my piece.
Blogveer unplugged his ears. It's done then.
Yes, you're good.
Well, so far.
Start listing vegetables.
Until we solve this.
Oh, good luck with that.
We'll start listing vegetables.
I'm no good with riddles. Did you say corn and apples?
I did say corn and apples.
And
Well,
now that you've been given answers, you might as well know the riddle.
No, that's fine. La 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 la.
I kind of like tug on your shirt. It's too late, Blogfear. They have you now.
No. I'm not getting involved in this magic stuff. I'm not getting cursed. La 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 la.
There's no magic involved.
And technically, you got cursed by sleeping in the same building as us.
Oh, God damn it all. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing.
Well, it's not really a curse. I mean, it's you mortals are so dramatic. It's just a price of some.
We're dramatic. You're the ones that set curses on people for spending the night somewhere unawares.
I didn't set
That's
a curse,
dramatic.
God is my witness. I'll sleep on the road from now on.
but there are fae of the roads too. So if you sleep on the wrong road, there may be a fae that you have offended at that point.
Oh, that's holy and unholy. Damn it all.
Fae is everything. Are there fays of chamber pots?
Yes, there are actually.
God.
They have a shitty job.
That they do, my friend. That they do. There are songs about them, but I will not sing them. Well, there are songs not sung with the mouth. But yes, even as he gets his laugh out, it sort of trails off, and he gets his haunted look and looks back over towards the we all have come, reaches up and grabs the amulet around his neck and sort of grips it tight as if for comfort. He says, "We have to get this cult." And I will say this: I did promise to bring some live sacrifices for the Reaper King to take of these individuals who are doing this. He did not say they had to be whole.
How many people are you planning on us dragging across the countryside?
I point to the big ogre and I say as many as he can.
Oh, you're just going to assume he wants to carry around a bunch of people?
Can we sacrifice Atlanteans?
If Atlanteans are involved, most definitely.
Can we say they're involved?
Oh my God.
And here we go. At least my people, you've done something to get it. What have the Atlanteans done to cause such hatred?
Oh, you've done it now.
Oh, I feel like this is going to be quite the story.
I fought the Atlanteans in the war.
There was a war?
Yes.
When the Atlanteans came ashore, they conquered a few people that lived along the coastline. And then when the villagers tried to push back, they declared war on the Atlanteans, and the Atlanteans put everyone to the sword.
Okay. That makes sense. So
I was out there killing fish fuckers by the handful, but it was all for naught. They won. They pushed us back in the end, beaten and broken.
I've heard
that wasn't the end, though. That wasn't the end. I come back to my village, and they had Kaya there. The ogress I was courting. We had held hands. We held hands. They had her in chains, marching her off. There was nothing I could do. It was me against so many of them. And I just watched that they took her off, burned down the village, killed those who were able to lift a sword against them. I will kill them all. The countryside will run red. Their precious seas will run red with fish fucker blood. I will kill every last one of them if I have to. I will find her. And if she still draws breath, and if she does not, then God's woe to them. I will not rest until every filthy fish fucker lies dead at my feet. And I will sit atop their mountain of corpses, and I will laugh. Just
Well then.
stare off.
Good reasons to want
Do what they say. People with happy lives don't go out on adventures.
Yes, the well-adjusted stay home, plow fields, and yes, don't interfere with Fey business.
I cleaned her hut.
Okay.
I took care of her garden. And we held hands. We held hands. And then they shackle her and take her off. Oh, her bosom was as big as mountains.
Hmm.
And her
Getting a
backside
little-
was firm. Firm as the ripest fruit.
Getting a little personal there, my friend.
Oh, he just kind of rubs his beard and he just gazes off into the distance. Yes, those thighs, those childbearing hips.
Okay.
Yes, anyways, death to the fish fuckers, kill them all.
Yes.
We will take that under consideration when dealing with the cult.
Well, hopefully the people who are doing this are Atlanteans. There was at least one Atlantean I've seen, I think, along with some of these raids. At least the equipment they had was. Leads me to believe the Atlanteans may be involved, in which case we may have to get your wish there,
Yes.
putting them to the torch and listening to their screams as the flesh bolts from their bones.
Yes. The goddess will have her sacrifice.
And Soldier became. So, and with that, I think Sheehan will take the first watch because he can't quite sleep at the moment. He just says, gentlemen, get some rest. We have a long march tomorrow again.
Skarnir, on his way to lay out his bedroll, he walks by Sheham, puts a hand on his shoulder. Now, I just want to let you know that even though Babushka's dead, I'll be happy to make you some more milk in her place.
Milk drink.
Sheehan reaches over and grabs Skarnir's chest and says, I don't think you're quite capable. Gives a little squeeze. And then heads over into the grass.
My milk.
He heads over into the grass and takes himself a vantage point on a small hillock nearby so he can overwatch the whole area.
All right. I will say that the night passes uneventfully here. You guys are kind of in a remote section of the plains that doesn't have a lot of big game that travels through it. And a few, maybe a dozen or so miles west is the Great Gray River. So the closer you'll get there, the larger the game and the more the traffic, we'll say.
More hunters and such.
At dawn the next day, go ahead and on your character sheets, make sure that you've crossed off 2 days of your provisions here. And where is it that you actually wish to travel on this day? And what is your rate, we'll say?
We can slow down for a bit now that we've gotten put some distance between us in that place. I guess we need to look for if there's possibly at least an Mercian village to get our bearings from, I would think. A place where an ogre wouldn't be too awfully, out of place, or locals might not necessarily be afraid of them. I'm not sure where that would be. I will ask our companions if they know of a place like that.
Skarnir will know of a village known as the Cairn Ward. That's just a few miles to the south and the west of you. 10 miles beyond that will be the banks of the river. But the Cairn Ward deals with a lot, and I mean a lot, of raiders. They have a spiked palisade around their village, and they're a hard people that do not take kindly to interlopers, especially of the troll variety. There are quite a few ogres that live there amongst the humans as well, though.
Then onward to there.
Yes. Sounds like we've got to head in.
You guys will actually make the Cairn Ward sometime just after noon. We'll say about 1:30-ish that afternoon. You'll be greeted by, like I said, a harder, more grim stock of Nemercians, possibly some people that maybe a little bit too grim for Skarnir's mirth, but these are warrior people.
Ah, I'm a warrior people.
You're greeted by a couple of the watch on the edge of the village. They exchange greetings with Skarnir and Jurek in the native language, and the rest of you are slowly introduced as your traveling companions. The captain of the watch, or what serves as the captain of the watch, invites you inside. You do take notice of everyone in this village who wields a spear. The spear head is wider than what would be customary. It's the locals call a troll-killing blade.
Right. How have you lot been recently?
Oh, sorry. What was that, Steve?
How have you lot been recently?
2 days before your arrival, that we were waylaid by a group of roving trolls. 7 of them. We were able to kill 4. And one of the watchmen points to a pile of fly buzzing corpses that just outside the gate. Besides that, our harvest is full, our babushka is healthy, our shamans are not ill in any way, and the children do indeed eat. You've heard word around the other villages that there are troll men and goblins being led by some foul, shadowy apparition in night, bearing armor and a wicked axe, waylaying villages, stealing their magics and killing our shamans. That has not happened here, and they will not happen here. Our troll-killing blades will find their throats.
Your troll-killing blades will not do you much good when the Reaper King comes calling.
We are able to appease the Reaper King because we still have our magics.
That is good for now.
Yeah.
Until those come, that I have seen one of these attacks. I can tell you that when they come, their forces are not as you expect. They're not like the trollmen you have probably faced, disorganized and such. I myself have slain 5 at one time. These are organized. Even their goblins are organized. They're well armed, and their commanders are unnatural.
We have heard rumors that he is indeed a fairy lord, or once was, but he is now a foul haunting from beyond the grave. He's come back for vengeance.
And yes, and how will your troll-killing blades kill that which is already dead?
He was killed once, he'll be slain again.
But can you kill something twice?
If you try hard enough, yes.
Maybe.
A couple of the watchmen clap Skarnir on the shoulder. Of course! Of course. And we'll mount him and wear his armor. And we will take their women, is what we will do.
Shouldn't you mount their women and not him?
Those are Skarnir's
Mount
people.
him on the walls.
I'm not going to care where you do it. Just please don't do it in front of me. But I don't doubt your manhood, great warriors. I believe you are as stout and hardy as you claim to be. So I only give you warning as one who's seen this foul thing. Beware and don't be overconfident that he take you by your own pride. Is your babushka available? I wish to speak with her.
She is here. The village champion will take you to the babushka's hut.
Thank you.
The village champion introduces himself. He's a Nemersian, particularly tall for his species. Some people say that he has a bit of ogre in him, as he is about 6'10", 6'11". He's just shy of 7 feet tall, and he carries one of these troll-killing blades, as well as a tall teardrop shield, not unlike a Norman shield. And he's clad in a bronze breastplate that has seen decades of service. He is, you probably see he's from maybe a handful of cycles shy of 50. He's getting up there in age. But he brings you to the babushka. He shouts for her, and he... as a herald, a proper herald, he introduces each of your number and then dismisses himself. The babushka comes out of her hut, and she is significantly older than Skarnir's great aunt, the babushka of the Mistywood village. And this woman is horrible and decrepit and just as hideous as any foul witch of the swamp may be. She, however, her name, she introduces herself as the Rose. She has a cane, more a walking stick, knotted and carved with in many intricate swirling fashions. She reaches out to each of you, and she takes your hands. It doesn't shake your hand, but she kind of gives you that old lady like hand squeeze, all 5 of you. She goes, "Well, good afternoon, my new and young visitors. What may I do for you? Are you ill? Do you have injuries that need to be treated?"
Not so much. We need your counsel.
Oh, well, come see me at my my circle of stones then, and we will speak. Is this a private matter, you say? Is it?
Not so. Not per se. So maybe disturbing, but not private.
I see. She hobbles to where a carved stone slab would be on the grassy floor there. And she beckons all of you to sit in a circle around this center bronze brazier in the center that is that's not lit, but Blogveer finds it's a little difficult to find a comfortable spot between one of these standing stones, as it's clearly meant for people significantly smaller than you.
I don't dare anger the babushka, so I'll squeeze in there any way I can. And I'll be gracious for the fact that I can do it.
Oh, okay. All right. You gingerly sit down. She goes, "What? Speak. What do you have for me?"
Each of these men have come from a village that has been attacked by these cultists that are disrupting the harvest rituals.
I have heard such things, and I apologize for your losses.
We have had Congress with a member of the court of the Ripper King who has tasked us with...
Her eyes go a little wide at this.
Well, that is not all, but this is part, has tasked us with bringing proper sacrifices from those who have disrupted these rituals to him, and to sacrifice them properly. We also are to bring trophies to the Pike King in the swamp as well. for these raiders attacked and killed his father and his mother. So as you see, these raiders are not merely just mortal men parading about with a modicum of power. They are truly a force. And it makes me fear for all others here in the area. Your village seems to have been well taken care of, and that is a great honor to you. But I would ask, what would be the proper way of sacrificing living men to the Reaper King so that he might have mercy upon the rest?
Well, you say living men. The Reaper King normally only takes sacrifice in the form of burning grain, a, a, a drink that many of the villages know how to brew. It is a water and honey fermented, and one adds tree resin and tomatoes and ferments it further. And the Reaper King becomes intoxicated and appeased on such a beverage. Very rarely does one offer up blood or flesh to the Reaper King.
It has been asked specifically in this case, directly from a member of his court.
I would say if one was to stand within a circle of stones and performed a ritual similar to what would be the norm, and if one was to drench these living men in this beverage for the Reaper King, and offer them up as sacrifice this way, the Reaper King could be sated that way.
Thank you. I am sure one who knows a bit of ritual would be needed. But if we were to, well, I only ask this because in all of the other villages that I have heard, the babushka has been slain, as there has other shamans. It's as if they're trying to eliminate anyone who could do such a ritual.
I have heard whispers that by slaying the babushka of the villages, the village will scatter or seem to die off. It is the babushka is the life and the backbone of a village, and it is our honor and station and responsibility to take care of those who would go before us. For our children and grandchildren are the future.
Yes. If we were to obtain these sacrifices and find a suitable place for the sacrifice to occur, could you recommend someone who would be able to perform this ritual for us?
I would be willing to do such a thing, but I am not long for this world, I fear. Not by the sword, but the time is quite long on me. I am to my 87th cycle now, which in context for the rest of you, she should have died maybe about a couple decades ago. She is ancient for a human.
Shion tilts his head and says, "Is that old for a human?"
She goes, "It is almost twice the life of what would be normal. I have lived just a handful of seasons more than 2 lives. It is nothing for the Fae." And she kind of reaches over, and if you're sitting near her, she kind of squeezes her hand a little bit. Squeezes your hand.
That is, then you have served honorably for your people. Still hold you in great honor. Yes, we would Thank you very much for offering to be our. I'm not sure what the word is with Bushka for this, but the person who performs the ritual.
The word you would use is a magician.
Ah. Well, thank you for being our magician. Have you heard of any recent raids? I know that we know that the Atlanteans are in danger of being attacked next. But have you heard of any other villages nearby which have been attacked?
Well, if you were to follow the river north, a few dozen miles where the river splits and goes deeper into the west, but if you follow the Great Gray River, it goes all the way into the north, back along the way to where the bearded folk live in their crags. Across that split, the Atlanteans they've begun attempting to subjugate the Arborians that live there.
She tries to chuckle and says that would be a sight and a feat.
If you, as you know, Faye, then you know that your cousins will not go lightly.
The Arborians do not submit well to their own. I cannot see them submitting at all to a foreign power.
There have been times when the river down this far south has run red. And if you understand the color of Arborian blood, it is not red.
No, it is not. So. But Babushka, could you bless my companions? They need comfort more than I. I have thoughts. I have thoughts to think. But thank you.
She'll bow her head, and as she looks back up at you, and she'll stand, and before you are to dismiss yourself, she puts her hands, those really soft, wrinkly old lady hands, on the sides of your face, and just kind of with her thumb, she brushes the hair away from your scars, and she just looks down at the scarred pits where your horns used to be, and she mutters something. You don't understand that language. That she mutters something, and that's that stinging feeling, that stinging, itchy feeling of your horns growing. It goes away, and your horns just barely peek through the skin.
Thank you, Bushka. Shihan takes his leave out of the circle of stones and goes off to think for a bit.
The babushka comes over and stands before Skarnir and Jurek. She puts a hand on either sides of your face and she goes, "You're both very tired. You've had much grief in the past couple months, and I am sorry."
Thank you, Babushka.
She gives you both a kiss on your forehead. She goes, "You may stay here as long as you wish. And if the chieftain sends you away, you tell him that I say that you can stay." She gives you a smile. And she strokes the hair from your faces. And kind of playfully tugs on your beards respectfully. She goes, "Stay, eat, sleep, regain your strength." She goes to stand before Blogvir and looks all the way up into his eyes. And she smiles and she holds out both of her hands to you.
I gently hold her hands with my giant hands.
She takes a few moments and goes, "Your road is longer than all the others. Your road has been much longer than all of the others combined, and it weighs heavily on your heart, I can see. I am sorry for the things that have happened to you. I am sure that you will have your revenge, but you must wait for just a few moments longer."
I will, Babushka. Thank you for your wise counsel.
Temper your rage and your grief with patience, and you will find victory, and trust in these companions of yours. And she kind of motions off to where Shihan left with her offhand, and she goes, "Stay, eat, feed yourself, and rest, and recover your strength."
Thank you, Babushka. I will.
And finally, she'll stand before the walking beard that is Gilfek. And she goes, "I have not seen such a beard since I was a young girl. How many cycles and how many seasons are you now?"
60.
"That is quite a long time. It is a beautiful beard." And she with her fingertips, she kind of just strokes the front of it just a few moments. She goes, "But this beard hides more than just a broken heart, I feel, huh?"
Yes, Babushka.
"And you travel with your enormous companion in hopes to find revenge just such as he. Is that true as well?"
More than vengeance, Babushka. More than vengeance, I want something. I long for my son to be returned to my side.
"Then I will give you the same blessing and same counsel as I gave your friend. Temper your rage and your longing for your family with patience, and trust your companions. And you will have it just a few moments longer."
Yes, Babushka. I will wait. I will be patient, as I have been. Thank you.
"I will say, however, to you, and only to you, speak of this to no one else. Your other friends might be leery or wish bloodshed on the Atlanteans. You especially must be vigilant. They are not welcome here on the mainland, and they belong in the depths, and they belong across the sea on their own island or in other unconquerable lands. You must be wary of them." She'll take your hands and squeeze them ever so slightly. She goes, "You may stay, rest, feed yourself, and regain your strength.
Yes, Babushka.
There's a few huts that can complement the size of your party."
I will heed your wisdom, Babushka. 1,000 thanks to you.
And she dismisses you to follow the rest of your companions. And with that, I will have closing soliloquies from the lot of you as you go and find an empty hut for the guests with an extra large opening to accommodate an ogre. Well, actually, you know what? We will start as you guys are kind of settling in for an afternoon of resting. Going from my left, we'll say, Alan, give us a window into the heart and the mind of Gilfek.
As he settles down in the hut and begins eating his dinner and contemplating on the babushka's words. He thinks to himself, I know the babushka's words strike true, and I know what I said. Muff, my son, I would give up this quest for vengeance for you. I would give up many things for you. I'd give my life for you so that you may live and see yours yet. My heart stays troubled as if I were to come into contact with him, with the betrayer. Could I still my rage, as the babushka asked? Could I keep my patience? Could I not drive my spear deep into his heart and watch the blood drain from it as he did to my beloved? Can I hold that back? These Atlanteans, they mean nothing to me. The war we fought was long ago. Even the colt, I could stay my blade for even them. But the betrayer weighs heavy on my heart. The babushkas are wise, wise beyond my years, and I would be wise to listen. I will only have to try. Only time will tell. And he just places his bowl down, half eaten, not quite, kind of lost his appetite a little bit, and lays back, contemplating the babushka's words, and ends into a restless sleep that night. Then we can move on to the next.
Keith, you are up.
Sheehan, as he leaves the circle, is thinking about the words and what he has to do, and knowing he's on the path. And he steps into the shadow of the stones and feels that cool, cold gaze upon the back of his head, and turns around quickly and thinks for a moment. He sees a pattern of a wooden mask in the stones, and the lichen and such on the side there shudders. He quickly moves back into the sunlight and heads toward where these huts and such are, looking for a bit of rest, some water, some food, and most importantly, a chance to actually clean himself a bit. He still has not washed the road to the swamp from his body yet, and from his hair. But as he goes, he thinks to himself about all those who have been left behind. His cousin, whose arm was broken and cannot continue. The babushka, who he still sees slitting her own throat to save others. The pike lord, his consort, taken and slain foully by this cult, and all the death that has occurred because of a group that seems to just want death and destruction. He thinks to himself, why would anyone want this? Why would anyone bring this upon an area? It must be some great evil somewhere. He sits down and starts to contemplate this, and wonders and looks around at these humans, looking around, glancing over at him, the red blade, the forest demon. And for the first time, he gets an idea of what those humans must have thought when they saw him leading those nobles out of the forest on their hunts, and how horrible that must have been.
All right. Grant, you are up next here.
Blogveer sits down and starts eating his dinner. The words the babushka told him, stay his anger, stay his vengeance. They mull around in his head. He eats his food. He doesn't pick at it. He's hungry. And he just sits there and thinks, I might be able to stay my slaughter for a short while. The Atlanteans will pay. I go to hunt this cult for my friend. But the Atlanteans will always hold my vengeance in ire. I know not how this road ends, but I know that it will end in blood. There will be lots of it, and hopefully it will be my enemy's blood. He just goes and finishes his dinner and finds a nice place to lay down. As he lays down, his last memory before he falls into the dreamless sleep is of him holding Kaya's hand, the ogress whom he courted for the first time, and he sees her warm smile as he fades off into unconsciousness.
Beautiful, sir. Thank you very much. And Skarnir, as the house lights come up and illuminate his grim figure, and as you look down at the broad-bladed axe in your hand, what is he thinking? What is he feeling?
Oh, gosh. What's happening to this world? Not 2 months ago, I was just out hunting boars, minding my own business. Now I'm traipsing across the countryside with a group of vengeance-seeking, pretty much everything except normal people. Oh, gosh. The babushka's right. Maybe I'm just tired. I should sleep and maybe try thinking on something. I should do that more often. Seems to work out pretty well. But I really like this axe. Gives me something to focus on. So, for the time being, you sit right there, right next to me. I'm gonna get some sleep.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We will be back same time, same day on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you to Alan from Firestar Roleplaying and our mutual friend Grant for joining us tonight. I was very pleased to have 2 new faces in the campaign here, guys. Thanks, guys. Take it easy, everybody, and good night.